We've all seen the movie 300, but what was the Spartan lifestyle actually like? These professional soldiers were trained from childhood and fully embodied the warrior lifestyle. Their whole life revolved around discipline by living a simple and minimalistic lifestyle to build both physical and mental toughness. For the next 3 days, I'm gonna eat and train like a Spartan and see how this iconic lifestyle changes me. The day of a Spartan doesn't begin with a hot drink and a nice book. No, it begins with masochistic exercise. I was up before sunrise on this chilly morning for a barefoot run on the cold ground and some calisthenics at the park. Spartans would start the day off with a barefoot run in order to strengthen the feet and build mental toughness. The Spartan lifestyle was based around simplicity and relentless discipline. Comfort was seen as weakness, so life was stripped down to the bare essentials: food, shelter, and clothing, and never more than was strictly necessary.
Well, my body's all warmed up, but the one thing I didn't warm up is my feet. They're super cold. It's the wet pavement, the wet grass, and the wet sand. Oh man, this is some foot training. Oh. Spartans would be proud of that one.
Pleasure wasn't denied outright, but it was rationed carefully, so even the smallest indulgence would feel like a victory. Everything was designed around developing mental grit through monotony and bland repetition. And speaking of bland grit, that brings us to breakfast. Boiled barley porridge.
Now this barley is pretty bland and boring, but that's kind of the point. The Spartans didn't eat for pleasure, they ate for fuel. There is, however, one addition they did have to their breakfasts: figs. This will add a little bit of sweetness to it.
The Spartans specifically ate barley because at the time, wheat was seen as a finer grain for the rich and royal. So the Spartans packed down the rougher, coarser, and hardier barley, not only for its nutrients, but as a symbol of a tougher lifestyle.
My family always eats boiled wheat on Christmas and New Year's. This tastes almost exactly the same. Of course, we smother it in honey and cream, but it's not bad.
The Spartans would typically perform some light weapons training after breakfast. But unfortunately, I'm just cosplaying as a Spartan today, and I had to skip my weapons training, go to my actual job like some kind of worthless peasant. But I still brought myself a Spartan lunch to work.
Well, it's time for my Spartan lunch. I've got barley bread here. Turns out it's actually really hard to find barley bread. This bread contains barley though. And I've got this dish of olives and goat cheese. Goat cheese has a very distinctive taste. It tastes like feta cheese that's gone off, but it's good.
Meat was a rare treat for the Spartans, so protein and fat had to come from goat cheese. Specifically goat cheese because the rocky and mountainous terrain of Sparta couldn't easily support cows. And obviously olives were incredibly abundant and a huge part of the Greek culture. And the barley bread was portable and convenient, and a constant reminder of the Spartan humility and equality among citizens.
Well, that's it for lunch. And let me tell you, the Spartans know how to eat, because that's a perfect combination of creaminess from the cheese, saltiness from the olives, and bread. Can't go wrong with bread.
After work, I enjoyed another staple in the Spartan diet: dilute wine. This was typically 3 parts to 1 water to wine. This helped add some extra calories, hydration, and also helped kill pathogens or bacteria that may be present in plain water. But most of all, it was a symbol of restraint. While many other Greek cities indulged freely in wine, Spartans believed that pleasure could only exist under control. I had another small Spartan snack of figs on my way to combat training. It was extremely common for Spartans to train on a light snack or a completely empty stomach. While I practiced jiu-jitsu, Spartans would practice one of the earliest known martial arts, pankration. It's a brutal mix of wrestling and striking that stripped away almost all rules. Fighters could punch, kick, grapple, and choke. The only thing off limits was biting and eye gouging. Pankration was the first form of modern-day MMA. And although jiu-jitsu doesn't have striking, many of the modern-day techniques are very similar to what Spartans would have used in terms of wrestling and strangleholds. Dinner was time to feast with the famous Spartan black broth. This was a pork broth boiled with blood and vinegar. Turns out pig's blood is a little bit hard to find these days, so I made a modern day version which was pork soup with black pudding and vinegar. And I also added some onions for flavor. This was the heaviest meal of the Spartan day, and it was purposely bitter, salty, and unappetizing, to further drive home the mindset of discipline and mental toughness.
Smells very vinegary. Taste is actually not bad. It's very vinegary, but I kind of like it. We'll see if I still enjoy it by the end of the bowl. Well, I don't know if I'm just really hungry or if I'm actually starting to become a Spartan, because that was a delicious dinner. I can get used to black broth. Dilute wine's not too bad either.
On day number 1, I ate 1,727 calories with 243 grams of carbs, 51 grams of protein, and 52 grams of fat. I also walked 9,707 steps. I woke up sore and tired this morning, but I did not let that stop me. Spartans don't get to sleep in or take rest days. This lifestyle is about relentless discipline.
It was just pouring down rain about 20 minutes ago. Luckily it stopped before I had to come outside, because I would still have to run. Spartans don't stop for rain. I don't know if it's a little bit warmer today or if my feet are already starting to toughen up, because they don't feel cold at all. It's not a super crazy morning routine, but it does make you feel great. Get outside, get some grounding, get a little bit cold, and then get the blood pumping again. I kind of like this.
I had the same breakfast of boiled barley and figs, but this time I added a little bit of goat cheese to contrast the sweetness. This breakfast was actually starting to grow on me, and honestly, the whole diet was. My modern day version of black broth was delicious, and sweet figs and barley is an incredible way to start the day. And for my lunch, you can't go wrong with bread. Adding cheese and olives only makes it that much better. I also brought some extra barley with me today to add in a few extra calories.
Well, another great day at work complete. I felt super fueled up from lunch today, and now I'm just gonna have a little pre-workout and head to combat training.
My combat training was feeling great. My feet were quite sore from the barefoot running, but that just made me feel more like a Spartan. For the Spartans, pain was embraced, hunger was constant, and cold was tolerated. The body wasn't an individual possession, but a tool for the community. Each person was honed through constant drills, hardship, and endurance. Strength and toughness were not optional. They were proof of belonging. I returned home and brewed up another pot of black broth. I was really looking forward to this salty, vinegary stew. I paired it with a big chunk of bread and a block of goat cheese.
Well, as far as some of the strange and restrictive diets I've done in the past, the Spartan diet ranks up there pretty high. This diet's great. Lots of hearty meals, bread, a couple good soups. Not bad at all. I'm happy with it. But tomorrow we're fasting. Finishing off the day with another glass of watered down wine. Hydrate for tomorrow morning.
On day number 2, I ate 1,947 calories with 222 grams of carbs, 66 grams of protein, and 79 grams of fat. I also walked 7,708 steps. I woke up feeling sore and tired, but I knew exactly what I needed to do. The routine was starting to grow on me, even though I was progressively getting more and more tired each day.
It really sucks getting up and going out for that workout, but man, do you feel good after.
Today, I was going to practice a day of Spartan feasting and fasting. My breakfast was a small bowl of plain boiled barley, and I wasn't going to eat anything else until dinner time. I prepared an evening feast of goat stew. Meat was a rare occurrence and usually reserved only for religious ceremonies, sacrifices, or victories. I wasn't going to war today, but I was practicing the sacrifice of voluntary fasting. Despite the high amount of work and training that Spartans did, they survived off very few calories. This was meant to keep them lean, disciplined, and battle-ready. Young Spartans were often intentionally starved and forced to steal food if they wanted to eat. This was meant to teach them stealth and resourcefulness. However, if they got caught, they would be severely punished. The cycle of feasting and fasting was designed specifically to promote struggle and discipline, while keeping morale and camaraderie high. That way, the Spartans stayed both mentally and physically strong and were never caught in the trap of constant overindulgence. It's kind of crazy how people that lived almost 3,000 years ago developed lifestyles that are so applicable to modern day life. It's almost as if the human condition doesn't really change. I pushed through my evening training with the energy from breakfast having long left my system. But when I got home, it was time to feast. Big bowl of broth, delicious side plate, a bunch of bread to go with it. This is gonna be an awesome feast. Smells pretty dang good. That is really gonna hit the spot after a full day of fasting. One crucial part of the Spartan lifestyle was the community. The Spartans were not individual loners. They were part of a well-organized team. They would sleep together, train together, and eat together. And that was all for the purpose of building camaraderie and strengthening the army. So I made sure I enjoyed this meal with my army. This stew was earthy and rustic, built on simple ingredients that Spartans would have known well. The goat meat brings a slightly gamey flavor. It's richer than lamb but hearty, with just enough fat to make the broth feel powerful. Up until this point, I've only had sweet barley flavored with figs, but in this stew, barley thickens the liquid, giving it a nutty and chewy texture that turns the stew from a soup into a true meal. Well, the Spartan diet. In my books, 10 out of 10. I really didn't have a bad meal. I mean, the plain barley, it's pretty plain, but with figs in it, delicious. In the stew, delicious. The goat meat, incredible. Goat cheese, olives, all of it. Overall, incredible diet. Lifestyle, loved the morning workout. Hated doing it, but afterwards felt great. Get that grounding in. Does make a difference. Overall, 10 out of 10 diet. On day number 3, I ate 1,698 calories with 223 grams of carbs, 128 grams of protein, and 35 grams of fat. I also walked 8,416 steps. Overall, this diet was incredible. The Spartan lifestyle is rough, rugged, and difficult. But there's something about pushing your body to do purposely uncomfortable things that makes you feel like you earned every bite of food at the end of the day. None of this food is something I would eat in my day-to-day life, but I truly enjoyed everything I tried. There is nothing comfortable about the Spartan lifestyle, but maybe that's the reason I enjoyed it so much. Thanks for watching.